Hello, friends. This is Jeremy Greer, here to remind you that Duckfest is coming sooner and sooner. If you'd like to come hang out with your favorite Duckfeed host, I guess that's pretty presumptuous to say your favorite. If you'd like to come and hang out with me and Gary and Will and Nick and Brayton and other people that I'm probably forgetting, you can come to Portland, Oregon, August 1st for a exciting day of podcasting. We're going to have a bunch of Duckfeed shows. We're going to have some guest shows. We're going to have a meetup at a barcade afterwards. Go to Duckfeed.tv/Duckfest for all of the information you need. And please enjoy the episode.
Now, just relax. Try to think of the dream.
You sure this isn't gonna hurt?
Not tonight. You must have absorbed the memories. You were just an infant in the dream. There was nothing left. But we may never know the truth now. We've had quite enough excitement, I think, for now.
I'm Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, the podcast where Gary and I are covering animated Marvel TV shows, and we are currently on X-Men Evolution and having a time with it. I can't even come up with an adjective for that, Gary.
Yep, it's not showing its strength.
Nope.
We're not going to spend tons of time talking about that in general, but these episodes are not the redemption episodes we were hoping for. I have high hopes for the two-parter at the end because it hopefully will make some plot happen. And there's a little bit more plot in these episodes.
Yeah. As a bit of an intro, did you catch all of the Marvel stuff at
Oh yeah, baby.
Comic-Con? That's all crazy. Did you hear that dude say the word mutants on stage?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Mutants and Fantastic Four.
Mutants and Fantastic Four, yeah.
Yep.
New
Excited
Blade.
All that.
I'm super into New Blade.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I think that I didn't love the first Doctor Strange movie, but the next one sounds cool as hell.
And it's got and number one, I like that they've confirmed that Wanda's going to be in it in some fashion.
Yep.
So like the idea of our big complaint with her in the Avengers is that her powers have been just like shoot a laser at a dude or whatever. So the idea of her powers getting into the more mystical kind of, attributes, I guess, is really, really fascinating to me. And it's also got like a baller tag name. It's like the multiverse of madness. Yeah, fucking A, dude.
Yeah.
Shoot it in my veins, please.
I was thinking about that. I wonder if they're going to do like a reverse House event. Like if that's where mutants show up.
That's been my thing for a while now. Is if like she doesn't do the kill mutants, it's been she kind of produces them essentially. And hey, then all of a sudden you have Xavier, and you could start that story, and that'd be really super cool.
Yeah.
I still think.
I think it looks cool. To me, everything looks neat. I'm interested in the shows as well. Mm-hmm. I want to watch that What If animated show.
Yeah,
and it's cool. They got Killmonger coming back, so there's definitely gonna be like a What If, Killmonger wins or something like that. Which obviously everyone who saw Black Panther knows that's a cool idea. I'm excited for it.
I am too. Like in the What If animated series, like they're getting a lot of the actual cast to do their voices on that, which I think is really important. So I think that's really cool. They're bringing back that dude that was in. He was one of the World War II guys that hung out with Captain America, so they're obviously going to be like going back to that timeline. I'm pretty stoked about that. I don't know, like all of that stuff just looks super interesting. I still think WandaVision is maybe the dumbest name that's ever been, but I'm hoping the show is like weird enough to win me over on that, to earn that.
Yeah. It all looks great to me. Like I'm pretty in for it. Like there's something there's things that I'm like kind of meh on. Like that's certainly not. I'm very happy for this as a representation win. Like I've never liked Shang-Chi very much. I've always felt like he has a weird place in the Marvel universe. Like it felt like it was like them doing a kung fu movie the same way they did those Tomb of Horror comics in the 70s.
Yeah.
Like what if there was a martial arts master? And I'm like, well, everywhere has a martial arts master. It's not that I think martial arts masters are not cool. It's just not very unique. So it's hard for me to get too excited about that.
Yeah, I look at that stuff
I think it all looks
like,
pretty cool.
I just get excited for the people that really like that, right? Like it's not for me at all, because I don't have any like direct experience with a lot of that stuff, and it wasn't what I was interested in as a kid, so I'd never really read a lot of it, and therefore I have no attachment to it now. So I see that announcement and I'm like, I'm glad they cast an Asian dude because that would have been really bad if they had.
Totally. They didn't Iron
if
Fist
it'd been another
again,
weird Iron Fist situation, or I'm not quite, but like if you had some like skinny white kid doing that, would have been crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I guess that Kevin Feige dude is now pretty much directly controlling all of that stuff, and he's real big on diversity and representation, and
that's great.
I mean that the nightmares of that sounds like the dude that was like had control over X-Men and Fantastic Four stuff. Like it just sounds like that dude's crazy. So
yeah,
I'm glad that
I'm
Phase 4 is
very excited for super excited. I would never take it away from anyone who's very excited about Shang-Chi, and I'll probably see it because it'll probably tie in some minor way. And also like I haven't seen any of these movies that didn't like successfully pass 2 hours and be kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Even the worst ones, I didn't regret watching. So I'm excited.
Yeah, Iron Man 2 still has that dope ass Black Widow scene, right? Like
yeah.
Or is that Thor 2? That might be. No, that's Iron Man 2. Yeah.
That's Iron Man 2. That's the debut.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like all of them have something worth watching. And then Iron Man 2 at least has like Loki and or not Thor 2 has Loki and Thor kind of going back and forth, which is still fun.
Mm-hmm.
Even though that's a bad movie. So it's I'm excited.
Me too.
There's been a lot of like the people talking about who were just like seeing it all and being like, I can't believe they're doing this and stuff. And I'm like, well, did you not expect it?
Yeah.
Like, first of all, they said they would, but second of all, like,
they weren't quiet about their ability to make more of these movies and make a bunch of money doing it.
And it's just kind of, I just feel like, it kind of reminds me of like New Year's Day, right? Like where they say like, nothing changes on New Year's Day. It's technically a new year. Like all the people who are very loudly tired of these, when we were in Phase 3, it's not contributing to the conversation that you're loudly tired of them now that they've announced Phase 4.
Yeah.
Right? Like it just doesn't add anything. It's like, we know that they're not your thing. It's cool. Like it's fine. I'm not saying like, oh, shut up and let people enjoy things. It's just kind of, you just keep saying it. Like, everybody gets it. It's okay.
Yeah, we got it.
It's okay not to like them. This is not new information for you to bounce off of. Really.
Yeah.
The specifics of it being like tired of this specific thing or thinking this specific thing looks good or bad, that's fine. But they're still going is not a good take. Because of course they are. And that was never, on the table that they weren't.
In-game made all of the money. Like they have like and like there's this, higher level conversation of like Disney owns everything now, and I like am just like from a foundational level anti that. Like regardless of the quality of the stuff they're making, like I still don't think that they should like own all of the stories by everybody from now on and forever. But they are making good stuff, and I am going to enjoy it. Like they are making that Disney TV service like impossible for me not to buy with all this Marvel shit. Like that's like assuming all of that shit exists on it, I will be coughing up $5 a month or whatever for it, because how can you not at that point? So
yeah, because I want to watch it. And it just feel like separate issues. There's something that like that. This is still happening as like a cause for alarm, and it's like, well, no, it's still happening. And it's I don't know. It just kind of feels like we're out of new things to say about it. Like, yes, it sucks. I don't know what stops that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've never seen a solution to Disney, taking the monoculture, right? Like, and kind of buying up these properties. I've never seen anything, a solution to that. I don't think it's a problem with a solution.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's a, and again, I'm not saying like, hey, shut up and let people enjoy things. I just don't think it's adding a whole lot to the conversation.
Exactly.
Please add to the conversation. Like if you have a trenchant new point about this cultural phenomenon, please make it.
And if you do, I want you to type it out, and then I want you to go to twitter.com/advanced_search and then just paste it in there and see if anybody has had that unique and trenchant point before.
Like, because I guarantee you they have. Yeah. And it's like 20% of my Twitter feed. So
exactly. Yeah. Well, let's get into some evolution.
Yeah, let's do. Starting with episode 10 of season 1, Shadowed Past. Rogue, which really made me think it was about Shadowcat. Rogue has nightmares based on memories she absorbed from Mystique, which reveals secrets about both her and Kurt's past. That is very exactly what happens.
Yes,
it kind of gives away the plot, because this is played as a long, slow, boring mystery. That is not a mystery for comics fans or for people who read that description. So we know what happened.
So we start out with Rogue. She's getting ready for bed and talking about this great werewolf book, which it has to be a Twilight thing, right? Like this has to be a Twilight reference or something. Like
that's my guess.
Yeah. But she gets in bed, goes to sleep, and then she starts having these dreams. We mentioned this last episode. I think this is the episode where we find out she rooms with Kitty. Where was Rogue living before the X-Men were like, okay, you're a good person now? Like, was it just did she move out of office? Did she move out of Mystique's house? Is that what happened? Like, what the fuck? Where was she? Was she carpooling from Destiny's place? Like, what the fuck is this?
I think she was carpooling from Destiny's place, because remember, Destiny's at play in this. We haven't seen her for about 10 episodes, but Destiny is in the show. And yeah, I think so. And there's no like, that's the kind of detail thing I would love to hear. Like, oh, like, what does it mean if someone just moves into the Institute?
Yeah,
you know, because the comics are really good at dealing with that, right? Like, it's very famous. Like, Kitty Pryde joining the X-Men as a comic is very famous for a lot of reasons, right? And one of it is it gives you that point of view character. Like, what's it like for a kid to join this weird school? And as much as Chris Claremont has his faults as a writer, he's great at that shit. Like, it's super good. It makes you really understand it. This show, which is ostensibly about that, like about the teen's life as they live this stuff, is horrible at it.
Yeah.
Just, you know, does not paint a picture of what that's like at all. So anywho.
So she's dreaming, and she's dreaming of monsters and a castle.
Like a Frankenstein castle.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically.
And she sees this hooded figure who's carried a baby running away from a flying man that is like very much Magneto's silhouette, and that's going to be played as like a secret for a little while, and it's just not like that. That's just fucking Magneto. And then the wolves start chasing her because Magneto has trained wolves chasing women away from his weird Frankenstein castle, which I find hilarious. Like, this is not quite, you know, put an asteroid in orbit around Earth, but it's pretty dope, right?
Yeah. I like his. This is where I would live. I'd live in Canehurst.
Sure.
Magneto. Fuck it. Yeah. You know, Castle M. I fucking love Castle M.
That's gonna be my cosplay for Duckfest. Is Magneto via Canehurst. I'm gonna try to see if I can pull that off.
It'd be fucking incredible.
That would be pretty fucking dope, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, mutant vampires. Get at me, Marvel.
Yeah.
So Rogue wakes up, and she wakes up screaming, and she wakes up basically the entire house because Xavier only lets them have rooms that connect to other students. So they're on this tiny little floor on the left-hand side. They only let them have one bathroom, which we're going to find out in the next episode. Like, Xavier's real stingy with his rooms. It's
super weird that everyone wakes up, because that's a Jean Grey trope.
Yes.
Like Jean Grey having a nightmare, waking everyone up because everyone has like a psychic vision or whatever. But this is just like they installed a PA in Rogue's room or something. You know, I don't know. So we go to the intro, and she wakes up. Everyone shows up, like almost literally everyone.
Yes.
Explains up, and she explains the nightmare. Cyclops thinks it's just finals coming up and stress, and she's like, "No, I've had this dream before. They started as soon as I moved to Xavier's."
Yeah, which was right after her notably absorbing Mystique's powers, right? Like like having that mind meld with Mystique. So that actually kind of makes sense.
Well, the very first episode in this whole fucking series that refers to an earlier episode, right? Like, is this like literally the first time there's been continuity in this show?
Oh man,
episode 10.
I forgot to bring this up in the last episode that we recorded, but when Spike does his little family video, there's a scene of Kurt dancing on the table from the from weeks before, and I was like, "Excuse me, explain yourself. Is Forge involved in this time travel? What is happening?" Anyway, I think that would, and then now this, and this isn't even really a reference. Like, I almost think that the writers could have just written down. It started when I moved into Xavier's house, not realizing anything else, right? Like, I don't know. Yeah. Like, it's not referred to directly. It's just kind of this kind of off the cuff reference. Anyway, Xavier sends everybody to bed except for Jean, Kurt, and Rogue, and they go see Xavier.
Importantly, before we get to that, like Rogue says, like, there's something familiar about the baby. Kurt says, like, what do you mean? And it's like, oh, the baby's you. So she knows that the baby was Nightcrawler.
Yeah. That's strange. And Kurt freaks out about this. He's like, what?
Yeah,
what?
Yeah, he fucking hates it. Like, he's just like, he cannot handle it. So Xavier is going to read Rogue's mind and figure out what's going on in the dream. And we see this dream again. And this time we find out that the hooded figure was Mystique. She asks Magneto who's floating after why, and then he floats away.
I really wish I had the opportunity to literally float myself out of a conversation when someone asked me a question.
God,
like,
dude.
Jeremy,
it's essentially muting in real life.
It's exactly what it is, right? Like, every time you hit mute, you're just Magneto floating back to his Frankenstein castle. Like, it's that good. Fucking
Magneto's block list would be fucking incredible, dude. What words do you think Magneto has blocked? Yeah, it's muted.
Definitely Asteroid M, because he's tired of fielding questions about that. Like, right?
From
like
NASA.
Yeah. Definitely has Xavier blocked because he's got people that can do that for him. And he doesn't want to see that stuff. I would probably also Hillary, right? Like, he's probably tired of the political chat on Twitter.
I also can't imagine Magneto being like Magneto is probably pretty intolerable to talk politics about. You know, even though he's right about a lot of stuff, like it'd probably be pretty exhausting.
Oh God,
tanky fuck.
He's the guy. He's the guy that like writes the 5,000 word thing and then takes a picture of it and then posts that as a tweet. It's like, look at here's some of my fabulous thoughts.
All Magneto's like buckle up Twitter threads, like 1 of 40.
One of question mark.
Yeah. God damn it, Magneto.
Oh,
I need you to chill out. Where Xavier doesn't have Twitter and he's very proud about not having Twitter.
Oh yeah,
you know he's on like he's just on Facebook. And he writes a blog that no one really reads.
No, he's got Facebook like as the public persona, but then he's got some nasty fucking Tumblrs, right? Like before they did the purge, he's just got some nasty Tumblrs. So
yeah, all these pictures of just like a shadowy figure in a wheelchair with like a leather mask, you know.
He's just photoshopping various gimps from movies into wheelchairs. Is that like the guy from Pulp Fiction is all of a sudden in a wheelchair?
That's his Tumblr. Yeah.
GimpsandChairs.tumblr.com. You think iTunes will let us name an episode with the word GIMP in it?
I hope so. I like to hope so. Anywho, we find some parents find Kurt when he's in the river.
Yes.
And Xavier says, "Hey, this isn't a dream. It's a repressed memory." Kurt's like, "Hey, they're my memories. You know, maybe I'm going to find out more about my past." And Xavier goes,
probably
we'll talk later. Yeah, probably not. We'll talk later. And then just leaves. Again, he mutes Kurt. The next day, Xavier goes to meet with Mystique. And this is kind of cool, just because it's like, oh, finally the actual forces at work meeting head to head. Like, I actually like this scene. Where, he wants to know, like, hey, what did Magneto do to Kurt? She doesn't want to tell him anything. But she's like, as she remembers he can read her mind, she kicks him out and he's just like, just so you know, he turned out well. Like they're kind of playing like kind of digs at each other here, which I like.
I do like this because it implies like there's more of a relationship between Xavier and Mystique than we've really seen before now.
Which is none.
And also gets into like, Xavier hiding stuff, which is going to be like a big thing. But also this when he was walking out, he's like, just so you know, he turned into a very fine lad, and she like looks shocked at this. I'm like, he goes to your school.
Yeah,
you have literally given him detention before. Like he went to another universe while he was at your school. Like
I was confused about that because I thought maybe she didn't know who he was because it was a repressed memory for her.
He's a blue furry dude. That's the same age as the kid that you lost like 16 years ago. Like how many? Like what is? Anyway, doesn't matter.
It does seem like she should not be. Such a dumb.
But the goal of all of this was Xavier was stealing the coordinates from her memory, and he sends that over to Logan, who goes into the Blackbird and is going to go check out this Frankenstein castle.
Yeah. So it's cool. Kurt is very excited to find out more about his past, but Rogue is not into this. This is a weird relationship between them. It's like, hey, you have my past locked in your head. He's very excited, but Rogue doesn't care for it because she's weirded out, obviously. Kurt gets mad and leaves. And there's a kid spying on them this whole time. This very obvious kid, this very conspicuous kid.
Yeah, you might recognize him because he has brown hair with orange stripes through it, which is as a dude with brown hair, I can tell you, orange stripes ain't gonna work on my hair, y'all. That's not possible.
Yeah, brown and orange aren't complementary.
No.
And of course, this turns out to be Mystique.
Of course. Later on, Mystique, having heard this, gives a letter to Quicksilver and tells him like, hey, you're fast enough to sneak in and out before security sees you at the mansion. Like, go give this to Kurt. And he's like, why do you want to talk to that dude anyway? I'm right here. And I'm like, all right,
yeah,
Pedro, whatever the fuck your name is in this show, calm the fuck down. Logan manages to land at the Weird Castle. Quicksilver does his thing. There's a moment here, Gary. It's a blink and you miss it thing, but like they show the Quicksilver streak as he's running into the mansion. And when he gets to the fence, the streak just does like the little curve up and over, like it's a cartoon, like a Bugs Bunny thing. And I'm like, did he just hop? Like, because he waits till the very last minute to hop, and his forward momentum would take him directly into the gate. Like, I don't know, it looks so like weirdly bad and cartoony. I had to call it out.
Very, very Bugs Bunny-esque.
Yes.
And also Xavier knows he does this, of course. And like, I'm going to need everyone on the show to remember what everyone else's powers are.
Yes.
Like, I'm so sick of everyone just forgetting, like, oh yeah, we can sneak something into the mansion. You know that Xavier lives there. His name's on the fucking mansion. You know, like he's the primary thing about this place, and he's the world's most powerful psychic. Like, I need you guys to be fucking smarter than this.
Just go run very fast, Mystique says.
Yeah, run faster than thought.
This envelope is a letter. Kurt grabs it, and it's a letter telling him, hey, come to the construction site in the bad part of town by yourself at midnight, and, you know, if you want to know more about your past. And I'm like, Kurt, I know you're an excitable kid and everything, but like you should know better than this. Like this is a pedophile letter. This is this is either a pedophile letter or it's that TV show on NBC that I don't think exists anymore. Like, you know,
that pedophile show. Like, why don't you try delivering a letter to me?
Yeah, you know, Kurt shows up with some wine coolers and a white dude in his 30s is like, gotcha.
Yeah. So he decides to do it. Cyclops shows up, sees him go on his way. Quicksilver, however, gets spotted by Magneto at some point. Magneto talks to him, and he tells Magneto his plans. Mm-hmm. Magneto says, "Hey, don't let Quicksilver talk, or don't let Kurt talk up and meet with Mystique and talk to her." At the same time, he sees Logan outside the castle.
Yes.
There.
And we get this whole extended scene of Wolverine sneaking into the castle extremely poorly. Like he walks through the front door, which, I mean, I'm not a superhero mutant spy guy, but I mean, like I would at least go through the side entrance, right? Like, I mean, the front door is wide open. Like, I mean, maybe somebody's expecting you. There's some gizmos and gadgets, like some lasers and some shit that tries to shoot him, but he just kind of explodes all of that stuff. And then he goes into a lab, which he identifies as a DNA lab by smell. Which
he smells the DNA.
He smells the DNA, which, I mean, it's like that old Office joke. Like, it's either blood, semen, or urine. God, I hope it's urine. And then he sees the bomb on the wall, and he jumps out of the window, and the whole thing explodes in one of the most poorly animated explosions I've ever seen.
Yeah. And goodbye, cool castle. You know,
what a bummer.
Yeah, I like that place. I wanted Magneto to have his lair there.
What does Magneto gain by blowing up the castle? Like, he destroyed the contents of the lab, but then he's like, I mean, presumably he still has a mortgage on this thing, right? Like, he's paying Dr. Doom $1,100 a month. Like, what does he get by like, is there other evidence in here? Is the implication? Like, he killed the lab,
or he's trying to kill Wolverine, you know, and just fucked up.
Okay, well,
but yeah,
sure.
it's a little silly.
Yeah.
Also, where is this? This castle had coordinates and stuff. Like, I imagine this is over in like Latvia or something. Mm-hmm. You know, like this is not. You know, and just that's very weird that he still has this ancient mystical castle.
I mean,
that he's on another continent and it's still in play.
As a guy that inherited some like property and some structure from my grandfather, like that I can't possibly get rid of because like who is going to buy this small amount of property? Like, you just hang on to these things, Gary. Like, yes, somebody wills you a castle in Latvia, and you're like, okay, I guess I'm here now. Might as well turn it into a DNA lab.
Experiments there. Yeah, good time for DNA. So Cyclops asked Jean to explore Kurt's room to find out where he went, and it's like, well, you know, like Xavier knows. Like, just have Xavier focus on the fucking kid.
Honestly, this was such a weird like jag to the left that I assumed Cyclops was Mystique. Like trying to get more dirt.
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
But it turns out Cyclops is just like, as soon as Xavier is like, go through all of your best friend's personal stuff, he's like, come on, Jean, let's go through his undies. Let's get this done. Yeah, what the fuck?
I don't know. And all the little weird custom holes poked out of the back of the underwear.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's weird.
It's weird. Yeah. What's weird is that they are the seam around them, like the actual like embroidery is really nice. Like somebody put some work into it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So Kurt shows up and he goes up to the junkyard construction site, meets this woman in a robe, who turns out to be Mystique, of course. And Mystique tells him, so that before any evil mutants can show up, we're doing Magneto's bidding, like she spills the beat, right? Hey, you're my son. Mm-hmm. Then the evil mutants show up, Blob and the crew, and Mystique's like, hey, leave, and they're like, no, we're following higher orders.
Uh-oh.
And get into a fight, and it's like, whoa, shit, you know? Again, that's kind of cool. I like that there's division between Mystique and Magneto. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
For the show, that's drama. And they attack Kurt. Kurt gets knocked out, but the rest of the X-Men show up. And it's time for a really, 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 really boring fight. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just replaying this in my mind. Like,
yeah,
they put Blob in a cement mixer, and it's not funny. Like,
yeah,
I don't know how they put. If I told you, like, hey, I read an issue of the X-Men where they put Blob in a cement mixer, you would laugh. You'd be like, oh shit, what issue is that? Like, that sounds funny.
Yeah.
Like, they did this here, and it's just fucking boring. There's some back and forth between the various people, and it's all dumb.
Yeah. Quicksilver gets taken out by Jean Grey, and I always feel like this is Jean Grey's Trump move that she never uses, which is just to levitate someone.
She's done this. She did this.
She's done it, but she should do it all the time.
She did this to Quicksilver like 3 episodes ago when we met Quicksilver, and he just turned into a whirlwind and fucked everything up. Like, it's bizarre.
This should counter the Juggernaut.
This should counter the Juggernaut. Absolutely.
Like, yeah, he has to be on the ground to do stuff. If he can't actually move, he can't throw things. He's a melee unit. Like this is just the ultimate move that she does so rarely, even in the comics. Just pick him up.
Just pick him up, dog.
Just wait him out. Let him tire himself out.
Pick him up, put him in the weird goo that doesn't let him move, and then be done with every single supervillain and go live your fucking life with Cyclops. Like,
go get married.
Go get married finally. Jesus.
Anyway. Make sure morphs in the goo and then go get married. So at the end, Rogue steals Avalanche's power and tries to confront Mystique. As she runs away, Rogue starts an earthquake to stop her. And then Mystique turns into a crow and flies away.
So, can't quake the sky, motherfucker.
Yeah, can't quake the sky.
Excuse me while I quake the sky.
So back at the mansion, Logan and Xavier are talking about everything with Cyclops and Jean. Xavier says, I know Magneto was using this lab to perform genetic mutation. And Logan says, hey, let's not tell Kurt about it. And you got to hear in the notes, didn't we have a whole episode about this? And fuck yes, we did, because no character development happens in this fucking show.
Yeah, they forgot about all of that.
They had a big climactic scene about Xavier not keeping secrets. It's not like I expected him never to take a secret or tell a secret again, like he was being totally truthful. It's real weird to just be like, hey, just say to everyone, we're going to keep another secret, okay? Immediately, like, it just happened. Develop your fucking characters.
What if I told Will, Cole, and Nick who your real dad was and didn't tell you about it? That's a weird thing to do. Like, that's a real fucked up situation. Like, I very much wish Cyclops and Jean weren't in this scene, right? Like, because it makes them, like, they immediately look down and look uncomfortable. And again, we've had a whole episode on this, and the kids were like, no, you should tell us the truth. And it's like, and Xavier was like, we'll do that when it suits my needs, or whatever the fuck it was. Yeah. But him having this conversation with Logan and Storm, and they make a decision as adults of this is really fucked up. We don't know all the information. Like, maybe we shouldn't tell him this until we can figure out what's actually happening. Would be a good thing. But with Cyclops and Jean there, it's like, that dog, presumably Cyclops is in a room with, right? Like, he's got to be roommates with Kurt, right?
Well, he's canonically his best buddy.
Yeah,
they're best buddies and stuff. And it's just I can believe that Xavier would lie about that secret. I can't believe he'd be dumb enough to not wait a second before having this conversation.
Yeah,
it just the characters are acting too dumb. Mm-hmm. Just as a general rule of this series, the characters are acting too dumb. So Kurt tells Rogue he can't believe it, and she encourages him hey, listen, Xavier will tell you when it's right. Kurt says, Xavier's not telling me the truth. You guys covered this, fuckers.
We've done this. We've already done this. Literally, Rogue. Rogue is the person that we did this with. And
this was your big defining moment when you joined the team, Rogue, and it was 3 episodes ago, 4 episodes ago. It wasn't that long ago.
And eventually, she just tells him hey, we've got finals. Let's go to school. And he's like, okay, and gives her a big thumbs up while the sun sets in the background. And I was like, really? This is it,
Lord?
What are we doing? And then there's this weird scene where Mystique, as the principal, is looking out over the parking lot as a girl, some random high school student, presumably not a mutant, but who knows, is saying goodbye to her mom through the window of a car, and she's getting all emotional about it. And I'm like, what? Is she sad about Rogue, or is she sad about Kurt, or what? It just ends, and then we're done. Yeah,
I don't know what they're sad about. The end. X-Men Evolution. I don't know what they're sad about. Yeah. So moving on to episode 11, Grim Reminder. Wolverine's tortured origin comes back to haunt him. I cannot believe this is where they blew the Weapon X episode.
This seems just so ill-advised and badly placed. There's not been any setup for Wolverine besides his stuff with Sabretooth to be anything. Like, all he is kind of a gruff dude. He, goes his own path, I guess. Like, you could probably, infer that. He's got this fight with the weird dude with fangs. Like, trying to come at this as a person who's not into the X-Men. And, it's just this episode. Like, this should be stretched out where he's having trouble in the field, or he's having weird headaches or weird dreams, and then we come to this. As it is, it's just like, here's Weapon X, and then now we're done with Weapon X. I'm like, this was literal, almost decades worth of shit in the comics. Like, the origin of Wolverine was such a huge deal. Weapon X was a thing that, as a teenager, as I started reading comics for the first time, just fascinated me. Like, I wanted to eat up everything that said the word Weapon X. And eventually, comics did their comics thing, and you just get kind of oversaturated with it. But a 20-minute episode, one and done, and I'm like, wow, okay, so cool, I guess. Man, so weird.
Yeah, it's really, it relies on him being a character prior to this, really, and he's just kind of not, and it's also just kind of ineptly handled. It's not very fun. It's not very exciting. I'm sick of the Weapon X story. It's not like I'm thirsty to see this told again. I've seen it told in movies multiple times. I've seen it shown on the cartoon. I've read the comic. This is definitely the limpest, Weapon X story, version that I've ever seen. So we start off, he's in the tank. He's in the Weapon X get up. Very classic. Pops claws, escapes, attacks everyone on the way up, and then way out, and then he wakes up.
And he's at the mansion.
This is a dream or flashback.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in the mansion. Intro. Kitty is sleeping in Rogue's bed because they're bedmates.
I mean, it was the last episode that they showed Rogue getting into this bed that they're now showing Kitty waking up in. I'm like, is Xavier that cheap? Do they sleep on shifts? It's a spaceship?
It's a sub. It's a nuclear sub.
Yeah. It's fucking crazy, man. Just so I can remember what you drew in the last episode. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
I'll be in the danger bed. Leave me alone.
Yeah, it's extremely unimportant detail that I just was like, boy, yeah.
So where's your fucking series Bible?
The weird and I want to say that this is going to be the framing device for the episode, except it's not, because they break the framing device several times and then they forget about it for a good solid 10 minutes, and there's only a 22-minute episode. But there's this thing with Kitty trying to find enough alone time to write her parents a letter in this kind of crazy hectic environment that they've never shown the school to be, really. And it's she's just, it's hard being a roommate with Rogue, and we see scenes of Rogue being in the bathroom for too long and not letting the Kitty into it. And then, I could be alone. There's kids in the hallways, but I can be alone with Logan, and, but he's kind of weird. It's all that kind of stuff. And then they'll just kind of forget about it for a little while we go do a bunch of acts and stuff. And then it comes right back in the end. I don't like this, Gary. It's not good.
The only thing I like about it is Rogue's really horrible hair when she's getting ready. She looks really weird. There's a couple shots of this where I'm just like, that's what happens to her hair when she doesn't do it up? Fuck, man.
Dude, that's gotta be, if that's your style, if that's what your styling situation is every single morning, you need a better hairstylist. You
totally need a better
your life could be
hairstylist.
Easier than this, Rogue. I promise.
Absolutely.
Stop going to sport cuts like that. They're not good.
Yeah. Go to at least go to the $30 place where they give you a beer.
Extreme. Yes, absolutely.
She walks outside at this point. The X-Men are all busy, need to use the bathroom and stuff. They're ignoring her. She goes to the kitchen and is describing, again, this is still the voiceover, of her telling the letter. And she's like, Logan's all right. He's real quiet, though. And Logan is fine. He's just like, hey, kid.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't really know about him. You know about him. He seems nice. And then the team storm into the kitchen all hungry, like the early Simpsons episode where they all sit down and go, rah, rah, rah. They all come in. There's 5 people wide at the door. Very fucking weird.
Yeah. And they've definitely shown them eating at a breakfast table, and they're actually going to show that same table later in the episode. But it's weird that they would all come into this apparently very tiny kitchen at one time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a really weird scene. Mm-hmm. So they turn on the TV there, and it shows this footage of this destroyed camp in Canada, and Logan freaks out.
Yeah.
Kitty's like, he's actually a lone wolf. And he just leaves whenever he's feeling bad. He just leaves. And so it's like, Are you literally including everything you ever thought in this fucking thing? Like you're narrating the situation to your letter. Like, why are you doing a real time letter to your parents?
Yeah, it's not it's not phrased.
Borrow the vid cam.
Get the digicam out, man. Come on.
Yeah, get the fucking digicam.
So Wolverine is so freaked out about this camp thing that he goes up and like literally starts destroying his room and starts like clawing up his door. And then like when Kitty calls him on it, it's like, hey, are you okay? He's like, no, I'm just redecorating. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then in like the common space for the students, Spike is on the couch, like spiking a poster for something called the Festering Boils to the ceiling.
I thought it was the Festering Boys.
I think it's the Festering.
I think you may be right, but
the Festering Boils.
Yeah. So this is important. So the reason he's doing this is because he ran out of poster space in his room, so he decides to put it on the ceiling of the rec room.
Yeah. What now?
It's very weird.
No, what is very weird is that Kitty's like, fine, whatever, go away. And then his bones dissolve into weird dust, and then the poster falls on top of her. Ugh. I don't want to inhale your bone dust, man. Like I had a Coke and now it's ruined. What the fuck is wrong with you? It's got into my drink.
We're all gonna like get diagnosed with bone lung.
God damn.
You're gonna cause a disease. You remember what happened to coal miners when they breathe all that coal? I bet your bones aren't better.
His bones are 100% worse. Like his bones are made from whatever McDonald's puts in French fries. Like it's just
just teen is Stridex and fucking
super
horny.
Gross.
Like disgusting. So she moves on to Scott, who is playing super loud music and kind of scares her, and it's like, well, this isn't very Scott. I don't know. Get Scott's characterization straight, please. Moves on to Xavier and Logan. They're talking in the courtyard. Logan talks about this news story, and he's been having these weird dreams as well. Xavier reads his mind and sees this facility, the Weapon X facility.
And Logan's thing about like the reason he's at the school is for Xavier to help him recover his memories, right? Like they're cramming.
They didn't get around to it till now.
They're cramming this into a 15-second thing, and I just don't know why. Like, why are you in such a hurry to get to this? You're not doing anything else with your time. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
it's also the second episode in a row that Xavier looked into someone's mind and says it's not a dream, it's a repressed memory.
Yes. Also,
that just happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on.
Logan, we see a bunch of this Weapon X imagery that like any X fan I think would identify immediately. And then Xavier says it's not a dream, but it's probably how he got his unusual implements, which is a really long way to say death claws. And Logan's like, well, I got to go to Canada. Goodbye. And leaves. And then we switch over to Kitty, who is hiding in the Blackbird. And Gary, like, I'm not some master narrative craftsman, but when I see a kid hiding in the Blackbird and somebody just said that they were going to leave 2 seconds earlier, I'm like, oh, I bet I can guess what's going to happen, guys.
For some privacy, and again, how big is this place?
Yeah.
This is where you need to go for privacy. I don't actually understand.
There's a wide shot, I think it's in this episode, of the mansion, and there is a pool the size of the mansion behind the mansion, and I'm like, just go to the other side of the pool. Like, it will take you 4 hours to get there, but nobody else will be there.
So Kurt shows up to take her to school, but the plane takes off before they can get off, including Kurt, who teleports, but it's not going to happen. Logan is piloting and doesn't not notice them with his super senses. They must have a tiny river between them and the stowaways. And Kurt is just kind of like, Kitty's like, hey, don't bother him. He's a little bit crazy. And Kurt's like, nonsense. Logan is great. And just comes up and says hi. And Logan very nearly stabs him in the head.
Yep.
So like, Jesus Christ, come on, folks.
Which is like the closest amount of violence that Wolverine has done on this show, like including his fights with Sabretooth, right? Like he's barely cut anything that's been animate, and he almost stabs Kurt through the fucking eye. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So Wolverine is going through this weird like berserker rage like breakdown, right? Like he's 40 years old. His job's not going anywhere. He realizes his wife doesn't really like him that much. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's going through like a little midlife crisis situation. And he shuts himself in the cockpit, so he stays away from the kids. So he's got a little bit of humanity left inside of him. Yep.
Kurt cannot teleport to the ground. He explains it quite a bit. Like, and it's like, well, you could have when the thing ended or when the thing took off. Easy peasy, but you didn't do it.
Also,
so they're stuck with
Kitty has
Logan.
been shown as being like a computer hacker chick, and I'm like,
Yeah.
like reroute the navigation system, like, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a million buzzwords you could use to fix this, and it just doesn't feel like anything real or valid at all.
Very convenient.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they land, and Kurt says, "Oh, there's something here that's jamming the signal, so we can't call home." Okay, cool, whatever.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
You gotta know it. It's like too bad they don't know any telepaths. It's like,
oh yeah,
this is so convenient. Like everything is just like very, very poorly structured.
Mm-hmm.
So Logan has a chip in his brain that this Dr. Organ can access. That's what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So the doctor is over with Sabretooth talking about this, and he looks like Dr. Cornelius, the guy who actually fucked up Wolverine in the comics, except for more evil. He turns the dial on the chip, which makes Wolverine freak out. So he's just got this big dial marked like
crazy
rage that he can just turn up and down on Logan, which is very funny.
He's got Bluetooth. It's very good.
Yeah, he's got Bluetooth Wolverine.
The newer model has Wi-Fi and actually you can be a little farther out, but like with Bluetooth, you kind of have to get somebody pretty close to Wolverine. So.
It was originally Sabretooth and Bluetooth, but he changed it to Wolverine.
Saber Bluetooth? Is that what you were going for? Saber
Bluetooth.
Yeah. I'm just picturing like the little Bluetooth icon, a little blue thing with the lines in it, but just with like two like pointy ears coming off of it.
Yeah.
With some claws on the bottom. Super good.
I would like to be able to log on to Sabretooth using Bluetooth and control him.
Dude, come on. I've got a Bluetooth Sabretooth. What?
Yeah, I would love a Bluetooth Sabretooth, dude. Like, they'd be a great superpower just in general. Like,
I
as
remember,
long as you stay synced up.
I remember the first time I saw somebody, this was like way before iPhones came out. Nokia had like, you could buy little radio cars for your little shitty Nokia phones and like control them and like little remote control cars. And I thought that was the coolest shit in the world. But what if it was that, but Sabretooth on a little motorcycle?
That would be incredibly, that would be way cooler, inarguably, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool.
So Logan starts freaking out. Sabretooth shows up, and I made a note of this, Gary. The Sabretooth is using like normally when you see Sabretooth fight, like he's got his claws out and he's like raking, right? But for some reason in this fight, he's using like straight up karate. So like his fingers, he's holding like all four fingers rigidly straight and then like jutting them straight out from his body. Like at one point they embed in some rock and it's just all four fingers in some rock with the thumb folded underneath. I don't know what this is. It's very weird and it's super detailed.
Yeah, very, very strange. Eventually Logan knocks him out. He's about to finally cut Sabretooth into little pieces, to get his answers. When the doctor shows up and turns up his Bluetooth Wolverine, and Logan collapses in pain. And then Sabretooth knocks him out. The knocker-outer has become the knocked out. Logan wakes up, and he recognizes the lab. He knows where he's at. Sabretooth shows up, and the doctor brings Kurt and Kitty up on the camera.
Yep.
And doctor says, Sabretooth and Wolverine were supposed to be the ultimate mutant slayers. So in this version, that's what Weapon X program was about, basically.
Yeah. So the kids like are roaming around and they see Wolverine on a rock and they're like, "Oh, hey, it's our friend and our teacher, the guy that we know real well. Oh, wait, he's with Sabretooth. Oh, wait, these guys are terrifying. We need to run."
Yep.
These Wolverine, Gary, I hate to date this podcast, and I really don't give a shit about the Area 51 meme at all. Like, I just don't care about it. But like, it's been inspired a bunch of conversation about Naruto running. Naruto running, which I didn't even know like what that was because
what does that mean?
It's basically like your arms are straight behind you when you're like leaning forward and you're running. I guess that's something they do in the cartoon,
like a ninja.
Yeah, sure. And like Wolverine is straight up doing that, and I wouldn't have even put that together if it hadn't been for like the deluge of Area 51 bullshit on my Twitter timeline lately. But yeah, it's just very much like Wolverine doing that, which strikes me as very funny for some reason.
Wait, I just put in Naruto running. And all the top results are Area 51.
Okay.
Do you think that like our culture is extremely sick and that like all it takes to make quote unquote a thing is just to take two other things, just smash them together?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Like these have nothing to do with each other. It's just kind of like throwing them together.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. We found a thing. Lord. We're not going to make it. We don't deserve to make it.
Yeah.
I know I keep saying that, but it's like, yeah, we're not good. So Kitty gets knocked off a cliff and kind of stumbles down. Sabretooth chases Kurt. Logan growls at Kitty, but she's like, I know you're in there. So he does not summarily execute Kitty Pryde. She forgets she has powers during this whole thing. But he loses it again and starts chasing her. Eventually she runs through a cliff wall and is trapped on a ledge over the other side. Well, there's this whole little comedy beat here where Kurt is looking for Kitty and goes like, Kitty, Kitty. And then Sabretooth is like, I'm a kitty. And I was like, oh yeah, Sabretooth does kind of mean cat. There we go. That qualifies, I guess.
Sure. Yeah, that's a joke.
As a construction.
That's a, that has the reasonable proximity to a joke, I guess.
Yeah. This is joke adjacent. This is on the same planet as a joke.
Well, let's not. I mean, solar system. Let's go.
Yeah, solar system.
Yeah,
this be too nice.
This is the Neptune of the Earth joke, right? Like,
yeah.
This is we know it's there. It may or may not be a joke, but we know it's there. Yeah. That's Pluto. I guess I should have gone Pluto to make that joke work, but anyway.
No, it's okay.
So
the moon of the joke.
There you go. So I like this jumping through the trees that Kurt is doing to get away from Sabretooth, and Sabretooth just starts jumping up there with him, and he's like, oh shit, I forgot. Yeah. You can climb trees too. I didn't see that coming.
He's got all the powers of an angry cat. Logan struggles. He's trying to shake off his beast mode. He's having these memories of Kitty. She phases behind him, and he barely stops himself from killing her, as we mentioned. Kurt shows up, and he wants to teleport her out, but she reaches out to Logan and actually decides to help him. This is the first time that, in the comics, like, Kitty and Wolverine, big relationship, this is the first hint towards that at all.
And it's a big, it's a big risk for Kitty. Like, this dude is super buff, and he has death claws at the end. He has 6 death claws at the end of his hands. Like, and you have literally just reached up and like touched him in the face. Like, it's the exact opposite of what you should do in this situation. If Xavier saw you doing this, he would wipe your memory of it so bad that you would not do this again. Like, that's how bad this is.
Yep. Yeah, no, this is inadvisable. Do not try this at home.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. So eventually it does work. He retracts his claws and falls to his knees. Sabretooth shows up and attacks, and Logan runs the opposite way.
Mm-hmm.
He gets out there. He's still not mind healthy. And he goes to the doctor's lab. He realizes, the doctor starts pushing the chip, or doing the dial on his Bluetooth.
Mm-hmm.
And Kurt, while this is out, so he's just going to try to destroy the chip. Kurt distracts Sabretooth while the doctor calls in spider bots.
Sure.
To deal with Logan, because the show is way about, like, bots.
Yeah. You got to kill something. Like, you got to have something for Wolverine to chop. It can't all be doors, and sometimes it has to be a robot. Yeah, and then Kitty shows up and, like, finally, like, oh yeah, this is a bunch of electronics hurting my friend. I know what to do with this, and phases through everything and causes everything to explode. I think she has a real goofy line in here about, like, that's the way we do it, or something like that. Like, it was just very, very bizarre. I was just picturing her, like, really getting that Montel Jordan song, just the lyrics way wrong. Like, this is the way we do it, guys.
Did you know somebody did that at karaoke recently?
Okay.
And there are multiple references to Montel Jordan's truck.
Oh yeah, it's a big. He
drives
truck.
A truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a real truck guy. I didn't really think about that ever.
I think that's because
that song.
That song had to come out when, like, Escalades were real popular with rappers, right? Like, so that's and people definitely refer to SUVs as trucks. So maybe that was what that is.
That could be what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean,
I didn't.
I don't want to put words in Montel Jordan's mouth or anything. Okay,
I don't want to put anything in Montel Jordan's mouth. Like, I don't want to give him a crab rangoon. I don't.
Let go of my crab, Montel. Goddamn, it was on my plate.
This is how I eat it. I know. It was mine. Leave it alone. I might
go back. You need to stop stealing people's food, or you can go back to the truck. That's what I said.
Yeah.
Oh man. So Kurt grabs Kitty, and they teleport out right as Logan is like, Project Weapon X has been terminated, and the whole place explodes.
Yeah.
And the poor kids, they're in a broken Blackbird apparently. And are just, like, sitting on a log until Wolverine stumbles his, like, dumbass up, and he's all, of course he's healed, but his uniform's all ripped up, and he just passes the fuck out in front of their feet.
Yeah. Yep. They end up back at the mansion. So, Xavier decided to do his job and Cerebro them back, or just telepath them back, or track the Blackbird or anything like that. Gets them back, and Xavier's like, you're okay now. They removed the chip, so Wolverine has been solved.
Yes,
his essential character conflict is no longer.
Mm-hmm. And now he can fade safely into the background where Wolverine belongs.
Yeah. Yep. And outside, Kurt holds everyone back from the dinner table so Kitty can finish her alone time and finish her letter or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is somehow about him learning to respect her alone time.
I guess.
Even though they didn't talk, like, there wasn't a conversation. There's no character development that happened in this episode. that is retrofitted to be what it's about.
Hey, Gary.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do brain surgery on Wolverine? What was okay? So my theory, I'm just gonna guess, right? Like I feel like we have I think we have a situation where you get a shrink ray.
Oh, okay.
And then you shrink Kurt down real tiny, and then you get Kurt to teleport in there, grab that chip, teleport out, and then you're done.
That has got to be I want that to be what this series turns into.
But I don't understand
like
why you have
Journey to
the
the Center of
bandage on his
Wolverine.
head. I don't understand why he's like looking like the sick emoji with the bandage on his head. But yeah, he's got an adamantium skull, Gary.
God, I mean, not adamantium ears. I think you're right. I think you had to go in through the ear. Or through the nose cavity.
But it's definitely involving somebody getting shrunk, right? Like this is a Xavier, I shrunk the X-Men situation.
Man, Journey to the Center of the Wolverine is a good idea. Like all of his white blood cells are attacking you or like regenerating at an alarming rate.
Dude, they're constantly on you and they're buff. Like they are fucking ripped white blood cells, right?
Really, really strong white blood cells.
This is such a better idea than the show is doing. Why are we not doing this?
Yeah, it just needs to be a little bit more wild.
Mm-hmm.
Give me some more imagination, show.
Yeah, I could definitely use it. And then that's the end of the show, right? Like that's it.
Yeah. And there's only 2 more episodes of the season. There's 1 more episode of the podcast covering the season, and then we'll do a movie. I don't know. We should probably talk about Dark Phoenix.
Yeah,
we'll figure something out.
Hopefully by then, Dark Phoenix will be like out and streamable or whatever.
Yeah.
But
we'll talk about that or Deadpool 2.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do one of those. So it'll be fun. And then on to season 2, where we're told it gets better. I'm looking forward to the 2-parter. I want to see them actually do some plot stuff.
Yeah.
I've
already forgotten what the thing is about. So
called the Cauldron, but I don't know what that means.
Okay, well, I see the words Asteroid M, so okay, I'm kind of in for whatever. So
yeah, I'm Asteroid in for that.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Gary! Wait, I take it back.
Uh oh.
The Cauldron Part 2. Magneto holds multiple battles to find out which mutants are worthy of joining him on Asteroid M.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with him doing battle royale with the students.
I think that'll be cool. I want to see what there's got to be new villains, right? Like we've got to see cool. We got to see cool evil. Nope, not a single new villain. Cool. Okay.
Well, fuck.
So it's just going to be our normal. Okay, cool. Gary. Yeah.
Lord.
We'll be back in 2 weeks with the 2 episodes covering that, and then I hope, and then a movie, and then we'll definitely get into season 2 of Evolution, which I am actually excited about.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Moving on from this, most seasons of most shows, the first season is pretty rough.
Mm-hmm.
So I allow for this to get better for sure. It doesn't make that what we're going through now not good, good, but I do believe it can get better. So
I will say, episode 2 of season 2 references Boom Boom. So
I like Boom Boom.
Here for Boom Boom.
Yeah, I love Boom Boom.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know this is like bad content, but I'm just like, episode. I don't even know what episode number this is. Let's say 6. African Storm. Okay.
Oh.
I'm sure this is going to be. Yeah. Anyway. Okay.
They made an African Storm now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so if you like the show, please rate and review the show on Apple Podcast. Please go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv and kick us a couple dollars. And it's probably by the time you're listening to this, you probably have very little time left to go to Duckfest. But if you did come, thank you. If it's, whether you're listening to this and it's like today, hopefully we're seeing you there.
So this will be coming out on the 10th of August. It'll hit the early feed on the 3rd. So you've still got 1, 2, 3 weeks to drive to Portland.
You got tons of time. You can walk to Portland. You could juggernaut to Portland.
Is that what we're? You could yeet yourself to Portland.
Yeah. See, a yeet can't be fast, is my understanding.
No, yeet is always fast. It's fast in big throws.
Wait, if you have 3 weeks though, you don't have to yeet. You could juggernaut yourself to it.
Yeah, but I mean, you have 2 weeks to prepare for the yeet, and then one.
Yeah, I guess that's. Yeah,
it takes a lot out of you.
I don't like words anymore. If
you were curious about this yeet conversation, go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv, join the Slack, and go look at the Everything to Guppy channel where all of this came from.
If you want to see a bunch of boomers confused by this term and have a slightly younger boomer explain it, you get that. So
love it.
A lot of people pushing 40 confused about this word, and then somebody who I think is probably in their late 20s, early 30s explaining it to us.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
Always get the best people in their late 20s to explain teenage words to us. That's
it's bridging the gap, the gap between the generations, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a service that is provided. So do all those things. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.